You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. I am Shannon Dias with Imaginative Media, and I am joined by Shannon Brown from Open Door Healing, and very excited to introduce Christina Booz, Shaman Mystical Crow, and she is from Sacred Temple Wellness, the guru in all things over there at Sacred Temple Wellness. And Christina is going to be joining us for season 2 of the podcast, which I'm very excited about. And so I thought we would start with just you tell us about you a little bit and what you've got going on over there, because there's a lot of amazing stuff happening.
Yes. So Sacred Temple Wellness is actually a business that was owned by my mentor and his wife. They had it for a number of years, I think about 15 years or so. And recently they have retired and graciously and full of tons of gratitude handed the company down to me, because I was helping them out for so many years. So I am second generational female owner of a legacy company, which I am so proud to shout that from the rooftops, which is just,
oh yeah,
you know, like they did such amazing work for the community around them in New York and all that stuff. And I'm very honored to carry that on. So Sacred Temple Wellness, to sum it up, it is a mix of community, of spiritualism, of animism, of nature connection, all things shamanic, all things witchy, all things, you name it, somebody does it in the community, which is really cool. And that is our strongest point. So when you go onto our website, you will see all the things supporting, you know, me and my team and all of our fellow people. You will actually see the lovely Shannon Dias on here on our affiliates, because that's what's the most important. Because if it's something that we can't provide to you, we know somebody else who can. And that's the whole point, is strengthening and healing through nature. That's the best way to sum up what's going on over there in the shortest way possible without me going on for hours.
I'm actually impressed, because that was amazing. That was like, you practiced that, you went through all the stuff. and I feel like I was just gonna say, I feel like I just want to let everybody know that was a very poised Christina that you all just heard right there.
Yeah.
And I love that came out right off the bat, because buckle up.
I don't know where that came from, honestly.
I love it, because that is also my favorite part of the community, is that everyone in that space, it's a safe space, first of all, but everyone in that space is real and raw. And just, you know, authentic is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but I think that is true. And so, you know, Shannon and I have been working on this Bring Joy Forward community space to make it the same type of thing, you know, where it's real and raw, and we're just putting ourselves out there, and, you know, just making it this welcome space. And toxic positivity comes around a lot, and we're very much about there's all sides to things, you know, and bringing that all together. And yeah, so that's my favorite part of it, is just the mayhem that comes with it, because everybody's being real in there.
Yep. Even chaos is necessary, you know?
Absolutely.
So this is why I wanted to come in here, because I've seen all the things that you guys are building, and it's amazing. And to meld these communities together,
yeah,
it makes sense. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like Muna Key, for those that don't know, you know, as a practice, we'll get into that a little bit. The overall arching idea that I took from it was just, you know, furthering my own beliefs of, we are all connected, and we all need to heal each other, you know, and bring each other together in that. Shannon does that in our Facebook group all the time. Like, she's our main person in there who is, you know, coming in and making making daily statements about what's going on in her day, and doing the tapping in there is so critical. And I think I wanted to kind of touch. I've got two things I want to touch on. I want to make sure I don't forget to explain animism, because I think that is something that a lot of people don't really have a very big awareness of. So I want to make sure we touch on that.
Yeah.
And then tapping is something that comes in also in the Moon IQ practice. So I wanted to throw it to Shannon for a little bit so she can talk about what tapping is for her, and what she's doing in the community with that, because I think that um, approach where she's coming in, where anybody can just jump in, and she's making it very accessible for people, is so critical. And so I kind of want to talk about that, and then jump to the differences, and how that grows together. So Shannon, if you want to kind of jump on that.
Oh, sure. So yes, tapping, emotional freedom technique, using tapping on different points to release energy. And as you can see, I just released, I'm not even thinking about something that I'm upset about, which is what I usually use it for, or I use it for affirmations. And you can take it to very deep levels. And as Shannon mentioned, I use it for everyday moments that seem to come up. We all live in a kind of a world, that balance, trying to keep that balance. One of the Gary Craig, who came up with the first tapping sequence, he had the thought that 99% of the physical ailments in our body was because of stuck energy. And this was a way of releasing that energy. And I have used it for those moments, and sometimes tapping on just that moment. I've released other moments in my life that I hadn't even thought about for like 20 years or 30, and again, just by release. So this is something that came up the other day, and I'm not sure if it was on Tuesday tapping or I don't know. Time right now is just at warp speed and collapsing for me, so I don't even know what day it is anymore. But anyway, it just the message that came through me after I did a tapping sequence was, by releasing that stuck energy, it allows for more joy to come into my body. And that's my journey that I am on, is on a joy journey. And so anything that I can do, and this is so easy, and it could be just as I use it at stoplights, now, honestly, I don't get that many stoplights anymore. I usually get green lights, or things flow through me, because that's just something I've said, I need all green lights today to get to where I need to go. And it usually happens. But when I get stuck in that traffic or whatever, I'm just like, this traffic, it's pissing me off. This traffic. I've got places. I've got places to go. I've got things to do. I'm releasing this angst right now, and I do this tapping sequence, and it flips. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not upset anymore. And usually by the time I've tapped it, either the light has turned or the traffic has moved on, or I'm given information to, take the next exit. And luckily I live around San Antonio, where there's at least 3 or 4 different ways that you can get where you need to go. There's loops and back. Now, if you live in Austin, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable, accessible. Okay. And I don't know about your areas, but at least in San Antonio, and I think that has to do with a lot of the, all the roads are based on cattle trails. So cattle will go where they go, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I use tapping for, and it's a daily thing. And I learned tapping back in 2007, and I did use it, and I still use it a lot. If something comes up that I'm really having a hard problem releasing, and I will take the time to do that. But most of the time, it's just that daily releasing, because if I release it now, I don't have to work on it later, right? So that, to me, is the biggest gift of tapping.
And Shannon is slowly learning to love being in the shadows and working on those things. Whereas Christine and I are like, bring it. So yeah.
Yeah, I've
I
done
love
a
that dynamic.
lot of shadow work this year, and actually,
It's hard.
it is hard. It is hard. There have been a lot of tears and a lot of days that I've been in funks, but they're getting, um, oh, let's just say shorter. It's easier for me to get out of the funk, and it's a journey. It's a journey with myself, and gosh, I even had a beautiful moment this morning concerning one of my paintings that I did last week, and
Nice.
it there was this huge healing, and I've the past couple of years, but especially this year, I've been doing a lot of mother-daughter healing with my mother, and gosh, there was this huge opening that came up this morning while I was looking at this most recent painting, because I had no idea that it was about me and her. I thought it was about her and my grandmother, and I'm like, oh shit, that's me.
Oh, I love it when that happens.
That's me
Sometimes I hate
at
it.
her disappointed, and and I was like, okay, I understand, So yeah, let's tap on that just for a minute. Embracing that part of me and accepting that what I saw in that painting, I didn't, because I projected it on my grandmother first. And then I realized it was me, because I didn't want to feel like that. I don't, who likes to feel like they're not happy and joyful all the time,
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Right.
that's
And what a beautiful segue, because
So I'll just hop right in on that. So yes, that is something that I always say whenever I take on personal clients or anything like that, or I run my courses. Shannon mentioned my Moon Key course. That's like our headline course that's only run once, sometimes twice a year. I tell you that I'm going to walk with you in the shadows when you discover your light. I'm not going to relieve everything for you, but you have to go into the dark to see the light. So Shannon, the fact that you're doing that, you're transforming, you're growing, you're now seeing it in your artwork. That is a beautiful thing. And that is awesome. Like, I want to put you on a podium and be like, look, world, see how awesome this is? You're all missing out. Because that's what I love. I love to see people step into their light, come out of that shadow, which is not really that scary once you start going through it a whole bunch of times, and really step into who they are. And I want them to be shining the light. I don't want to be seen. I just want to be behind you going,
Absolutely.
So I love that you're tapping that too. You brought that up, that you do it at a stoplight, because that's all it takes. Is just, sometimes it's a few minutes a day. You have just that brief moment and you're like, all right, this energy, it feels stuck. It needs to flow. It's not just stuck within you. It's your interaction. It's stuck outside of the world. And you're influencing not only that energy to flow through yourself with the tapping, your interaction, releasing the energy that's flowing around you. And this is why you're getting more green lights as you're going down the road. It's so awesome. So I will jump into, so why I say that you're influencing interactions. So my lineage, my shamanic lineage comes from the Quero in Peru. So the Quero shaman. So the shaman is also, I just recently learned from them a word they only heard about 50 years ago, but that's their term.
Wow.
Shaman is actually a Siberian term. That's, so every shaman has like their own type of name, but I'm actually learning directly from them right now. So I'll explain. My lineage comes from them, from Alberto Veloto, the Four Winds Society. He learned from them. Alberto trained my mentor, Shaman Silverwolf, and he trained me. Just recently, the past couple of weeks, the Pacos have opened up training classes on Zoom to their people that they know of already, because they're trying this out before they have it in the public. So I've gone back to the source now. And my mind, like when you guys go through the Moon Key again, I have every class, I've gone through 6 of them, and I have no less than 30 pages worth of notes at each one. It's 3 hours long each class at least. It's crazy. Anyway, so my shamanic teachings and the way that I live my life is interactions with spirits, which is something that we're very disconnected from. So when I say spirits, I'm going to touch on animism now that Shannon wanted to bring up. Animism is something that we actually all kind of know, but don't know the term, what it's actually called. Animism is the belief that everything has a spirit, everything has a consciousness, everything you can interact with. So something that you like, really identify with sings its own kind of song, has its own consciousness. So, like crystals, like for example, I have that here. Mm-hmm. So crystals, for example, we really resonate with this crystal because it sings a song, which is its animistic energy, that's similar to ours. So it interacts, it works. Everything. Yes, everything alive, trees and plants and animals and stones and all that stuff, but also inanimate objects. All those things, things that you think are, they're physical, they don't really have a consciousness, but they do. There is a spirit energy that goes with it. So by opening yourself up to understanding that everything has a consciousness, you can understand your interaction with all of those spirits, because that is something that the Pacos are very big on wanting us to get out in the world right now and make more Pacos and all that stuff, like make more of you guys, is understanding that we're so disconnected from that understanding, that we're not just connected to one another as humans. Yes, we feel our connections to our pets, but there's a connection to that holly bush right there. There's a connection to the computer here in front of me. My energy goes into it and its electrical impulses going back. There's a deeper connection than we understand. So by doing things like Shannon was saying with her tapping and clearing and ridding all that energy that's stuck in your body, you're freeing yourself up for those spirits to interact with you. Because yes, they are conscious. We are not the supreme end all be all things on this planet. No, we're low. We're low down there. Just because we have a consciousness, we can speak and we can create beyond measure, does not mean we are ascended by any way, shape, or form. We need to open ourselves back up to that interaction of the spirits, of the planet, of the mountains, of the stars, of the cosmos, of our ascended masters, so on and so forth. And a practice like Shannon's with tapping is a really good way to do that, because you're ridding all that crap in your body. Not only do you feel better, and you're strengthening that mind, body, soul connection, because people always forget about the body. They either go spiritual, like then the battle between the mind and the soul, and then the body's separate. There's ways of blending them all together. That's the whole purpose of Sacred Temple Wellness. It's your mind, body, and soul. When you can clear all that energy and you're conscious of the spirits around you and working with them, you can interact. This is how you manifest. This is how you create things in your life. This is how you make better environments for people around you, for animals, for so on and so forth, to hear your calling. Whatever it is you want to call it, you need to start with this. Middle. Yep. Here.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love how you tied all of that in together.
And tapping, so I do want to say with the last little bit, the tapping, so in the Mune Key practice, there is a bit of tapping. So the Mune Key is 9, and there's like a 10th one, but the 10th's not official, but it is official. It's a little bit of a gray area, because it's a very, very new thing that's been released upon the world. Because again, the Pacos are trying to get these teachings out into the world because they believe their way of life is going extinct. It's been foretold that, in all their readings, that this way of life is really in danger. There's actually don't remember the name of the tribe at the current moment, but there's a tribe out in New Zealand, part of the Maori tribes, that have actually written down their practice for the first time because they want to share it in the world. Many cultures around the world right now are scared about this connection, that it's going extinct and that we're essentially going to kind of fizzle out. I'm not bringing on doomsday things and stuff, but it's not good. But in the Mune Key practice, one of the rites that you go through is to stimulate, the physical part of it is to stimulate your third eye and your pineal gland and all that other kind of stuff, to reset your fight or flight reflex and to strengthen your seeing ability, as a seer, yes, divination wise, but also seeing your interactions with the magical and spiritual things throughout the world. And it taps on the neck and the back and the face, the head and all that kind of stuff. It makes a crown and a necklace essentially. So it stimulates that part. So you see the spirits better to interact with. So Shannon brings the real part to this, like the real life, everyday part of it. And then the Moon key is the next step. So.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful connection. We were talking about this before we started recording the podcast, and I was kind of explaining, for me, as a spiritual practitioner, walking into an elevation of what I was already doing was such an awareness within myself that it kind of brought all of that together, right? Because we're not talking, specific religion in any of these cases. We're a very open community. The religions are, span. I just want to make, that clarity in there. We're talking about spirituality and, and those deep connections and your deep beliefs and how you work into that world spiritually. There are multiple religions as a part of both of our communities, and in each of our individual communities as well. But it's that awareness for me, and you were basically saying that in your response. It's what that all of the practices that we're doing, our goal is for healing, and it's healing ourselves, and healing our communities. It's healing the earth and everything within it, that's going on. And none of that can happen if you don't have awareness of all of that and how it interacts, yourself, where you're holding. We do it in micro ways, and we don't really talk about it, but we do it in micro ways when we're doing meditations. And even in simple, 30-second meditations, where are you holding the body? Where do you feel it? We all say that when we're leading a meditation, right? And I think that, yoga and all of that, and especially you're working with that energy and how it's flowing within your body, right? But it's that awareness of how it comes in and how it flows from one, one thing to another, one person to another, that animism kind of tying into it all. So yeah, it's a really beautiful connection. I think unless anybody has anything to add, I think that's a good place to stop for this intro to who is Christina Booz and Shaman Mystical Crow, aka Shaman Mystical Crow, which, by the way, Christina is, as we said, very authentic, real. She will answer to Christina. She will answer to Shaman. She will answer to Crow. She will answer pretty much anything.
Yeah, you say, hey, you, the loud one over there.
Just respect. Yeah. And that's another episode right there. We'll talk about that one.
One thing I did want to throw out is when Christina was talking about how everything has, a spirit, and I specifically came into, normally my computer is in my office, and that's where I do 99% of my laptop work. But I specifically came into my granddaughter's room, and I'm sitting at my brother's desk. My brother passed away 2 years ago, but when I sit here, and this was my mother's desk, so like when she was in her 20s, right? So this desk has been in our family a long time, and I sit here and I can just, and it's real wood, where a lot of the stuff these days are not, and you can just feel it. I can feel my brother when I'm sitting here. I can just feel the energy of beautiful things that have happened here. And so maybe I'm saying that is, pay attention to where you're drawn to. If there's a specific place that you like to go meditate, why do you like to go to that place? Is it because your best friend or your husband or your partner, that's where they like to sit? God, I remember, I'm just going to throw this out there. I know, I love to talk. When I was dating my husband, he went to Seattle for a week to work, and he let me stay at his apartment. And I wore his flannel shirts while he was gone because I loved the thing of just, I don't even think he wears flannel shirts ananymore. We've been together so long, but I'm just, having that flannel shirt on just made me feel closer to him because he was gone. So again, we're doing this naturally. It's just paying attention to, why do I like this certain space in my house? Or why do I like this, and then just communing with it and say, okay, why do I like it here? What is the energy I'm feeling? And how can I take that energy, if it feels good, to
Yeah.
other spaces that I'm in?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. No, that's it. That's the everyday realism with that. It's you're connecting to that energy. That desk is beautiful. Like, that's awesome that it has all of that. It's an anchor point for ancestral work now. Like, it's really cool. And I totally get that with wearing the sweater with from your husband, because I still do that. Me and my husband are 22 years strong together. And when he works
And
over
adorable.
all that stuff, I still take his shirts because I smell it on him and I wear it to bed, because then it's comforting because I can't sleep at night. You know, so it's like, even still, after all these years, he's had this job, 18 years, that will require him to work overnights at least once a week. And you think I'd be used to it by now.
Mm-mm.
No. So I still do that. That is a powerful thing.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You took that right back down to the awareness, intention, and being in that moment, realizing where those connections are coming from. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We thank you for being here with us on
You're
the
welcome.
Bring Joy
I'm
Forward.
honored to be here. You guys are amazing. This flowed so well, so natural. This is so cool.
I love it. I love it. And that's the thing, right? Is when you have authenticity and you have the intention to be yourself and to connect, with a healing eye, where, you're not trying to heal the next person. We're all healing ourselves here, right? So as we're sharing ourselves, little pieces of ourselves, bringing that energy around. I love it. I just love it so much. And thank you, listeners, for being here with us. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com, and we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.